Steve and Alan's pro tips in a short time. Learn a lot.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, Steve.
Today's quick pro tip is one I know a lot of people have asked for, including me. Dealing with angry parents. Email, text, phone calls, conferences, that whole fun package.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest parts of the job. And it's especially hard for music educators because a lot of things that we do poke at identity: auditions, solos, chair placement, ratings, time commitments. And it's a recipe for big emotions. It's personal.
Yeah, I like that you start there, that we don't automatically assume the parents are being completely unreasonable, that this is emotional for them. So, where do you want to start?
Well, the first big idea is that if parents seem angry, they're usually worried.
Yeah.
So if you think, hey, this person's attacking me, it can make us be defensive and short tempered. But if you're thinking, oh, this person is scared for their kid, the kid's been through a lot, so now they're worried, then I could probably stay more calm and effective. So we're not excusing bad behavior, but it keeps us being a professional and not an adversary.
Yeah. So they send that 11:02 p.m. 4-paragraph email about chair placement or the show choir schedule. What do you do?
Yeah, I think, and this is true in so many venues. So I hope that people can extract a lot from this. Match your channel to the emotional level. Email and text are good for information. Phone or face-to-face conversations are better for emotion. So if a message is long or heated or full of assumptions, I should not try to win the argument in writing at 11 p.m. So you just write back and say, hey, Dr. Shanley, thanks for reaching out and sharing your concerns about that show choir schedule. I want to give this a thoughtful response, not a rushed one. Can we talk tomorrow after school by phone or set up a time to meet? Done. Short, calm, specific, acknowledging them right away, not ignoring them, but changing it to a format where tone and nuance stand a chance. And if you're feeling emotional about it, do not respond right away. Nobody needs an immediate response. We're not saving lives. We don't want to respond to the heat of emotion. Wait.
All right. So reluctantly, this introvert will agree with you that I cannot handle this particular thing via email, and I need to have a conversation either in person or on the phone. And the parent is mad at me. What do I do next?
So once we're there, once we're with them in the conversation, listen first, summarize second. Something that happens a lot because defensiveness and stress and speed happen a lot. Parents don't often feel like they're being heard by a school or by a teacher or by a coach. So if you give them 60 to 90 seconds to talk without interrupting, you're probably ahead of the game in terms of their previous experiences. And then you just say some version of that summarizing and mirroring that I think we're all familiar with. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. You're frustrated because that chair placement felt really unfair, and you're afraid that their scholarship chances are going to be affected. Did I get that right? And you'll be amazed at how often temperatures drop as soon as people hear their concern being reflected accurately. So you're not agreeing with them. You're just proving you were listening.
One thing I like about that, I have a colleague who pretty regularly will say, I hear you, and then go on to their thing. I'm like, no, you didn't. You're just saying you hear me. And what I
Right.
like about your approach is you're making it very clear that you heard me. This is my take on it. And I kind of feel like for a lot of people today, they read somewhere, oh, just say, I hear what you're saying, and you'll show that you're
Yeah.
empathetic or sympathetic. But I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that process of actually summarizing helps that strategy really work to its best. So I've listened, I've
Yeah.
summarized, and then now it probably turns into a me versus them.
Yes. Now we fight. No, I'm just kidding.
I
So
mean,
let's
that's what I
let's
was
figure out what
hoping.
the
That's why I came here today is to learn better fighting strategies
okay. So like roll up your sleeves
and
and
get
then
real
just
personal.
jot down. Yeah, figure out all their weak points that will make them cry. Okay, now find a way to agree on what's next. Say out loud, "Hey, we both want the same thing. We want Steve to grow as a musician. We want chair placements to be fair. We want him to have a good shot at scholarships." So it's not parent versus director, it's parent and director versus the problem. And then you can gently bring in your whole perspective. Some version of, where I'm sitting, I do have to look at the whole ensemble. I got to look at balance. I got to make sure there's strong people on each part. And so those are all the things that go into these decisions. I know how this feels from your end because you're right. Steve's really good. And it feels like he ought to have a different chair placement, but I do need to keep the whole ensemble in mind. So you're not throwing yourself under the bus. You're not apologizing, but you're not like trying to bludgeon them with all your logic.
Okay, but in the end, they're still not getting what they want. Like if they want their
Yeah.
kid to be first chair or the schedule to be rewritten or whatever. So how do you keep it from sounding like, well, here's a bunch of excuses for why you're not getting what you want?
Yeah, that's a hard part. I think you need to separate what you can do from what you can't, or what you will do from what you can't. You got to be very clear about both. You can say, I can give Steve more feedback so that next time around, he'll be really clear on what he needs to do differently. Or, you could just say what you're going to do anyway. I am going to do some reseating, specific date, and that would be his opportunity to show some growth. There are some other opportunities coming up. There's an honor band, there's a conference honor band. Despite his chair placement, I'd be happy to recommend him for that. But I can't just immediately redo the audition process for the whole group, and I can't just move someone. You know that, right? Like I can't just move someone because the parents came in and talked to me. That's a tough thing to do, right? So you don't want to promise things that you can't or shouldn't deliver. So you can say no. It's helpful to explain the why without using too many words, and then maybe offer the next best thing that you can do.
Yeah, it's funny. As a parent myself, there have been times where my kid didn't get picked for something and I was mad. I didn't take it very far, but I could see how, even as much as I wanted for my son to get X honor, that if I went into the teacher to talk about it and they said, so you want me to just like do it for him, even though I wouldn't do that for other students? Like, yeah, once you hear it out loud, you
Yeah.
kind of hear how ridiculous it would be to do that. And I think even some of the more challenging parents would really understand that once it's presented to them in that way. So I want to go back to earlier. You were talking about the medium itself, text versus in person. And I think it makes sense for texts and things like that. It's very simple logistics only. Rehearsals at 7. They don't need concert black tonight. But then if emotions appear, what do I do? Just like not respond? Like that seems a little more awkward.
No, you could just say, hey, this is so important. I don't want to handle it by text. These things can get lost. Could we talk tomorrow?
Yeah, kind of like you said with the email. Respond with the email and say, this is cool. Let's set up a time to talk.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What about administrators or counselors? When do we loop them in?
Well, you do it when their skills are really needed. They're busy folks also. But if at some point you detect that the parent might go to them with this, I think it might be okay to head that off at the pass. If that parent is yelling, swearing, making it personal, bringing up a bunch of other stuff, that might be time to say, hey, this might be more comfortable for all of us if we do this in front of the principal. Or if there's safety concerns or legal concerns, if there's an IEP involved or a 504, like any kind of plan, anything legal, at that moment you bring in the administrator. Or if it's kind of a repeated thing, like his parent is always coming in with this stuff.
All right, so can you boil all of this down to a list of 3 things? Can I get it to 3?
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Okay.
If a parent is angry, don't win the argument in a long email. Move that conversation to phone or in person. Demonstrate that you've actually listened to them and then work together on a shared goal.
Yeah. I like it.
If you do this consistently, you'll have fewer angry parent battles and more honest, although sometimes uncomfortable, partnership conversations where you're on the same team.
And I think, as always, when we boil things down to a simple list like this, we might give the impression that we think this is easy. Like, you don't think this is easy, right?
No, not only is it not easy, it's also not fun. It's like really easy to it's easy to think to ourselves, you know what? This isn't that emotional. I'll just answer in a text. I'm sure it'll be fine. But use your spidey sense and know that parents get worried and they just want the best for their kid. And every parent, I don't know, maybe it's not fair to say this, but Steve, I bet you and I could say, we're just kind of always wondering, are we doing the right level of advocacy for our kids?
Yeah.
And are we doing right by our kids? Are we doing right by them? So every parent feels that, I think.
Yeah. So this is never easy. It's never fun. But I feel like your reminders and suggestions make it a little easier and a little less miserable. And I'm good with that.
That's fine. Sure. Less misery for Steve. I'm
All
on
right.
board.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you, Steve.
Steve and Alan's Pro Tips in a Short Time Learning.